when the government is doing something right, I will always call it, if anybody likes it or not, right? But I feel they are doing some good stuff, but it's getting overshadowed by issues like this. I come from a marriage, a Hindu-Muslim marriage. My parents, one Hindu, one Muslim. I married a Christian. I felt it myself. Once I lost my election and I became a full-time mom and a homemaker, I realized how difficult it was. I was better off running off to work and coming back.
Yeah.
It is an extremely
To be fully present.
to be fully present, because there you're supporting not just your kids, you're supporting your husband as well. My mom gave up her entire career after she got married out of choice. Whatever time I spent with my mom, I soaked in a lot of her energy. I think I got to know my father very differently at that time. You know, I saw him as that people's person. I saw the love people had for him. And I realized, you know what? He's just not all mine. He belongs to everyone.
Chairperson of the Nargis Dutt Foundation, former member of parliament, a social worker. With me is Priya Dutt. Thank you so much, Priya, for joining us here on Free Press Journal. I really admire the kind of work you have done on ground as a politician and something that you continue to do. And when I was researching for this interview, I realized that the amount of work that has gone in, which I don't know if all of it has been reported, but quite a lot of work that has been done, not just for cancer, which a lot of people do know, but also for children. So I would want to begin by asking you that you've been a social worker, you were an ex-member of parliament, you also are a mother to kids, but which is the role that you identify with the most?
That's a very good question. And you know, I think my role as a mother, I think every mother will say that, is something which is very, very special for me. Yeah, so I do identify a lot with being a mother, because I had my mother in my life for a very short time. You know, I was about 13 or 14 when she passed away. And I think it's always been my, I think, big effort from my part to really give my children the best in the sense of values. You know, what my mother kind of passed down to me or my father passed down to me, to ensure that they grow up to be good human beings. So I think that is a role which I take very seriously in my life. And of course, my role in Nargis Dutt Foundation, which is very, very important for me. It's like my baby again, you know, which I took from my father. And I think that's another role which I identify with completely.
You know, what I understand again from the kind of work that you've done on ground, also as a member of parliament earlier when you were representing Mumbai North Central, that this area that you represented continues to be in news for a lot of reasons and not all good news, right? It has seen murder of a politician like Baba Siddiqui. It has seen attack on a very famous Bollywood actor, A-listed actor Saif Ali Khan. What is it about this area that, you know, now there are so many concerns about safety and the fact that it is crime infested? What is your view on this particular
I think it was extremely shocking, because Bandra has always been one of the most safest areas. And we've always had very high profile people living in Bandra, always. And I think what happened with Baba Siddiqui it was horrifying, you know, and we hadn't seen something like this in a very long time. I remember it was in the 90s where we would hear cases like this of shootouts and things like that. And this is the first time I've heard of this in so many years. And it was very, very heartbreaking to see that. And then, of course, with Salman and with Saif, what happened, it really, I think, took us by surprise. Everybody in Bandra, there was suddenly these antennas went up to say, my God, what is happening?
Is it because of influx of migrant workers into the city, as some people are making it out to be?
We've always had migrant workers. It's not the first time you're seeing an influx of migrant workers. I mean, we've always had migrant workers coming in, working. We saw it during the COVID times, the amount of migrant workers that were there in the city. But I think it's very important to note that there are bigger issues at play. You can't just say, oh, migrant workers are coming to, crime is rising. No. I think there are bigger issues at play. I mean,
let's start with the Baba Siddiqui issue. Now, behind this, it is now, as it turns out, there were big players involved as a real estate and big money that was at stake, owing to which Mr. Siddiqui became inconvenient to certain people and he had to be eliminated because he was sitting on a lot of those decisions. So which means that even now, even though we say that underworld crime has declined, it means that the last vestiges are alive, or you think it's resurgent now?
No, I don't think so. I think they are not as it used to be. Like, earlier there used to be, I think, threats to every businessman. There used to be threats to anybody, extortion. And I mean, that is not happening. I have to say that we have the finest police force, and I think we have the informer chain is still there, still very vibrant. And I'm sure, the cops have it all together. But what happened with Baba Siddiqui, I think, is something nobody can yet put a finger on. I don't think anyone knows what exactly happened, what the real truth is. Of course, everybody is speculating that it could be the builder lobby, it could be some project he's sitting on. But Baba was a very astute politician. He has been in politics for more than 40, 50 years. He has dealt with these issues all the time.
Yet never imagined or never envisaged that there is this sort of a serious threat to his life?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't think so.
Because it happened literally like in daylight, like 9 p.m. in
Bandra. He was a very cautious
exactly
person. I worked with Baba for so long. He used to work with, when my father was member of parliament, when I was member of parliament, we worked very closely, and I used to see how he used to deal with people. So I don't think, and he was a very cautious person. And he would never...
Cautious in the terms of not making the wrong enemies, or you're saying cautious?
I think not even, if there was an altercation also with somebody, he would sit and sort it out.
Not let it fester.
It would, or he would be cautious about his own self, his own health, his own life. Would not take chances with that.
Okay.
So I really don't know. I mean, it was a very sad thing what happened. But I still don't know what exactly went wrong.
And about the Saif Ali Khan attack, a random robbery, burglary attempt gone wrong. There shouldn't be more that we made out of it, because sometimes what happens is, because it's a big name, it seems like too much of a coincidence.
Too much speculation. See, most of these things now, they go into a tangent because of who the person is. I'm sure there must be a lot of these burglaries happening in a lot of places which I don't think they must be even knowing.
Reported,
not even reported. Or, but everything
gets amplified
because it's safe, right? And again, I mean, he lives in a very secure building. What happened to the security? What happened to the camera? There's so many questions. So but I think it really puts everybody on the edge, around the area. Bandra is supposed to be the very elite place where, where a lot of construction work happening, lot of development happening, lot of people, now wanting to come and settle in Bandra. So it really kind of makes
your support and as a leader, whether it is from the front lines or whether in terms of giving backup support to the leaders from this area, you've been active even in the recent elections, supporting the candidates, whether it is Mr. Asif or Varsha for that matter. And you've, of course, said it yourself that you are in the Congress party, may not be in active politics, but what is your role as of now within the party and in politics?
I have no role. I have no role in the party at all. Okay. I always call myself a Congress person. It's in our blood. Right from my mom, my dad. So I think it, like you say, it's just part of our DNA, really. And but I don't have a role in the Congress party. I've always.
You don't plan to contest elections going further?
Not as of now.
Back burner for now.
I'm really happy in doing what I'm doing right now. And even when I was in politics and I was in very active politics, fought elections 2 terms. I never went into politics with an intention of being there forever. Okay. I don't think I could survive politics all my life. Okay. So I had said I'll give myself so much time, but then I want to do a lot more and other stuff. And that's what I did. I remember there were times people used to say, "Arey, nahi, ek baar aap politics mein to chhodna bahut mushkil hoga." And I used to keep wondering, why are they saying this? Because it's
but Priya, decision. What happens is your name is now also taken in the list of people who the Congress was not able to nurture, was not able to retain. I mean, whether it is Milind Deora or other leaders, important ones, big names who have left the party. Baba Siddiqui also ahead of his demise. Quit the party. So some people who many would think could have taken the party to great glory have slowly abandoned. Even though you say in your case it's a personal decision, but somewhere do you also feel that there wasn't that sort of motivation from the top leadership, somewhere with that energy that could have kept you?
See, I'll be honest with you, with where I am concerned, I think it was a very personal decision of mine, and I don't think I could survive politics all my life. Okay. But when I see a lot of other colleagues of mine who left the party, I feel really sad, because I think for them, politics was a career option. Okay, and anyone who chooses politics as a career or anything as a career option wants to see growth. When there is no growth happening, then they're compelled to take decisions. And I think that was what I felt really sad about, is that, I think they came with very good ideas. All these youngsters, they came with good ideas, good things they could contribute to the party. But unfortunately, they just left and...
So it's a lost opportunity for the party.
Of course it is. Of course it is, and that's what I felt really bad about. And and being a Congress person, I do feel terrible when I see, how we perform in so many of the elections, certain decisions that are taken and all. You feel kind of, oh hell, I wish we could make the party strong. I wish, we could do it from ground up. Till the time, see, from my belief is the most important part of any political party are its workers. If we don't empower our workers, people like leaders, like you're saying, if I'm a leader, who's made me a leader? It's the workers who's made me a leader. I'm able to lead because I have an army of people working on ground and reaching out to the common man.
Yeah. That's the infrastructure.
It is the infrastructure. The moment I lose that ground, I mean nothing, right? So I think for me, that is the way it should be. It should be heavy at the bottom and then, going up.
And the foundation, as it
foundation has to be really strong. And I think there was a time, the largest party had a solid foundation one time, but that's kind of breaking up.
So one needs to fix that, is what you're saying?
I feel one has to fix that
first. Okay. The latest talk is, of course, Shashi Tharoor, who said, I have other options. I'm not desperate. Is there anything that which, because, of course, again, someone who's a stalwart and one of the faces of the party. I mean, how can you not have someone like that?
Of course. I think he's really an asset to the party. But I really don't know what is in his mind and what happened. And I've been reading, things as you are, but I really don't know what is happening from the inside.
We had the Congress Maharashtra chief in office, and one of the things he said, Priya, is that people are sold out to this ideology right now of a messiah like Mr. Modi, who's bringing back the past glory and the Hindutva idea and the majoritarianism, and also, of course, a lot of the electoral battles are fought on a very polarizing sort of a narrative. I want to ask you, you're a child of a Hindu-Muslim marriage, and I'm thinking today in Maharashtra, there are laws being brought in the name of anti-conversion laws. These are actually targeting intercaste marriages as well, right? So how do you react to these developments? I mean, I am thinking, looking at you, that look at what an intercaste marriage has produced. We got a Sanjay Dutt, we got a Priya Dutt. None of you would have been around if there was a crackdown on, say, intercaste marriages.
I feel it's a very sad state. I really don't agree with that. See, I am in a very neutral spot today. I will never criticize for the heck of criticizing, because I'm talking about BJP and they are completely opposite of our ideology. When the government is doing something right, I will always call it, if anybody likes it or not, right? But I feel they are doing some good stuff, but it's getting overshadowed by issues like this.
By few bigots who are...
Which is not needed for our country. You are seeing a lot of greatness in our country. You're seeing a growth in our country. You're seeing it's in the global map today. And then you're looking at issues like this, which are taking you back and 100 years. And like you very rightly said, I come from a marriage, a Hindu-Muslim marriage. My parents, one Hindu, one Muslim. I married a Christian, so we never even thought, oh my God, I'm doing an intercaste marriage. That never even occurred.
Or interreligion.
Or interreligion. Correct? For me, it was another human being I wanted to marry. And the same went for my father and my mother.
True.
At that moment, you don't think that, oh, is he a Muslim? Is he a Hindu? Is he what? And this whole thing of love jihad.
Yeah.
So two people can't fall in love and get married. And then suddenly they'll have to, first decide that, oh my God, if I have to fall in love, I have to fall in love with the person of my same caste or same religion. It cannot happen.
Yeah, because the other side, the argument is, no, there is a deliberate plan in place to target girls of one community and have them,
I'm saying
convert to the other religion. And that is why this is the jihad that is being waged.
If there are cases like this, they can be taken to task, obviously. Because it's like, what do you say? Forcing a person to convert, or you're forcing someone to get married to convert. Correct? That is against the law. But if a person is willingly doing it, how does that matter? And nowadays, many youngsters don't even convert.
Yeah.
Right?
They're allowed to practice.
They're allowed to practice their religion
as well.
Yeah. You don't need to convert. So I think these issues are, first of all, very personal issues. And even if somebody wants to convert, it is their personal decision. You can't say that somebody is being forced to do it. You can't force anyone to convert. So I think there's a lot of these issues which I think, too much is being spoken about it when it's not really needed.
But do you have your faith that this is not going to go beyond the point, or do you think that this narrative can really hurt us? It can tear us apart. If this is allowed to grow, this communal hate bait, or making it an electoral, getting electoral dividends out of it, and it's helping a certain side.
See, I'll tell you one thing. Our country, I have full faith in what our country is. Our country is a very large and diverse country. And we are so different. Each state is so different from each other. You cannot have that one size fits all. You will never be able to have that. So, this whole division which is being propagated will never work out, I feel. It won't.
Beyond the point, it will not.
Beyond the
People
point,
see through it.
People will see through it. I mean, you look at our states, starting from the northeast to north, south. I mean, we are so different, and yet we are one. I think that is the beauty of India, right?
But despite the Congress party trying to use precisely this sentiment, the party has not got the mandate. People are buying into this ideology of Hindu superiority or Hindutva or the majoritarianism. People are not buying into this pluralism and diversity and we are a country multi-religious as much.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think there are a lot of things in our country which is only played for politics. Yeah, I don't think anybody is looking at the larger aspect of what is the right thing for our country. When you look at now, yeah, these guys are looking at it like it's like a divide and rule policy. Majority is Hindu. We have few Muslims. We have whatever, and let's work that. I'm not even completely for reservation. When you look at reservation and what Dr. Ambedkar had set out to do is to create and bring our Dalit folk to a certain level where they could actually come out and start competing. It was supposed to be a 10-year thing, which continued till...
Because then the electoral politics came
in. Right? So our mindset only works with what is needed for the next election.
That should change.
It should change. You have to... See, we cannot... For me, I feel if you really want a nation to grow, you have to empower the people. Right? I don't think freebies work. When you look at... I'm just equating it to what I do in Nargis Dutt Foundation in such a small way. When these kids come to me for scholarship programs, I will never give them a full scholarship. I will give them 50% of the scholarship because I want them to work hard enough. I want their parents to realize how important it is and contribute. If I had to tell them, no, I'm paying your full fees, you don't have to do anything and you just have to get marks, good marks, they will slack.
Somewhere they will make a stakeholder.
You have to make them a stakeholder. There has to be some hunger.
Yeah.
Right? Only then you will see the results. You will see that yes, they are actually going out and the sense of achievement is there. That I did it. I did it on my own. But I've always realized, and I think that's one thing which maybe I took a step back also from politics, was that I think my thinking is very different. Maybe it's not the right way of thinking or is that I always feel that we have to empower the people.
Somewhere maybe working within the party diktat was not something you wanted as something to hold you back, or you feel you can do more this way, you can go further when you don't have that baggage? Or
No, I see, for me, I think my freedom is, for me, critical, very critical. And I'm not talking about Congress. I think any party, if I had to join any party, your wings do get clipped. Right? You have to follow that party's diktat. You have to talk the way they talk. You have to be the way they want you to be.
There's a template.
There's a template you have to follow. Okay. Right? Especially in few parties there is.
Okay.
And I can't do that.
Okay.
I can't do that. I think it's really important to have that freedom of yours, have that freedom to do what you feel is right according to you.
Yeah. But Priya, what happens is then how do you get the women representation in parliament? You were once a member of parliament. We are still struggling to get the women's reservation bill passed. We do not have enough voices in parliament. This is a Women's Day feature. I want you to tell me about this. That how do we get there? I mean, we are half the population. We're not even 1/3 in parliament. How fair is that? What are the parties doing? They should start with giving them representation within the party.
Yes, but that's exactly what I said.
But then people like you are not willing to be part of big national parties anymore because you don't want to work with the template.
So no, see, that is me. But there are many women who would do anything to be part of it.
Okay.
There are. It's not that this is me. I am that odd one out, maybe.
Okay.
You know, but there are many people who would, if given an opportunity, would love to be there. But I think, why are we waiting for reservation in Parliament? Why can't it become a mandate of every party?
Exactly what I'm asking.
Then automatically
give tickets to that many number of women. I mean, people don't get that you can't keep fighting for one bill to be passed. You can get started with it right away.
Immediately.
If the intent is there.
Of course. So if the intent is there, you start giving more representation to women. So, but that doesn't happen, right? That doesn't happen. But secondly, also, I think it's very important that you don't see many women also. You know, like I remember telling somebody that there's 50% reservation in BMC elections. And it was so difficult for us to find women candidates for that election.
But no, I mean, at least we'll get there if at least we try. Like you said, it was difficult for us. That's the difficulty you face. And you go through it and you find a way out.
Yeah. But even if you find, you will find somebody's mother, somebody's sister, which is also fine.
Also okay. To begin with.
To begin with. That's the way people will look at, see, this is an opportunity I have. I can definitely go ahead and do it.
Yeah. Like what Nitish Kumar did in Bihar with the women village sarpanch was, I feel, such a great idea. You know, when a girl sees her mother, you know, as the sarpanch of the village, that itself becomes empowering for a young girl. I mean, 100%. A lot of us would agree perhaps that we emulate, you know, what we see in our parents.
Of course.
And as a mother yourself, and that's again, in fact, the next question I wanted to ask you, that you juggle so many roles, right? And for a working woman, just like I am, I mean, also raising 2 kids. Now, it becomes so difficult sometimes, of course, juggling all the roles, right? And then you have people saying 90 hours work schedule. What was your thought at that time?
God.
How will we do it?
I was in shock. I'm like, really? You know, I mean,
90 hours, it's like just kill everything else other than
it was like
work maniac.
Number one, of course, for women it's an impossible suggestion, but even for men, you know, where is your family life in all this? You know, and how do you expect that means they expect that a man should not contribute at all to his family. It is only a woman who can contribute. So theek hai, you know.
It comes from that patriarchal mindset as well, you feel?
It does.
That a man is supposed to be seen at work, and how much can you stare at your wife is also added by the same gentleman.
Okay, what do you want to sit at home and do? You be at work, you know? So I feel...
And the wife is always there to be stared at, as if she's not doing anything else.
And today I think there is an equal responsibility of a man at home as well. Correct? Now, when you have children, I also expect that my husband sit with my kids, talk to them. Sometimes, you know, when they were kids, their homework, he used to take it up. Right?
Yeah.
So there is a partnership.
It's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
I think we get that concept of marriage probably terribly wrong, because we still, you know, it is laden with those, underpinned with those concepts of male superiority to begin with.
Completely.
And instead, like you used the word partnership, if we thought of it as a partnership, how beautiful it can be, because we all have our individual strengths and we just complement each other.
I agree. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's really beautiful. And I think people should look at it positively. You know, people today, I don't even agree in many ways about this man bashing. You know, I always see that men and women are very different from each other. You know, we call ourselves equals, but we are not equal in many ways.
Yeah, we're not.
We are not, right?
But when you combine strengths, can do magic.
Yeah, it's a partnership. So he has his strengths, we have our strengths, correct? And when we combine it, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And but I think we have to look at it in a very positive manner, you know, and rather than looking at it, oh, that's, you know, men have become that one separate entity. We have become a separate entity.
Which is again, I think which is why it's important to empower women. Whichever way we can, to reach that level where they are more visible in those important roles as well. Then you get a balanced society, because that many women are also visible at work and taking important decision-making roles. Then you have the next generation feeling that yes, men and women can do both things. I'm very tempted, sorry to use this line, that, you know, I thought of it myself, and I feel that, you know, the combined force of a man and a woman can create a life.
Yes.
Think about it.
Exactly.
If that is the power within.
Exactly.
If you channelize it properly.
It's amazing.
A woman and a woman, or a man and a woman may not be able to actually come
create
together
that,
and create a life, but here is a potential. So it is that potential we're talking about.
Yeah, and I think people should look at it like that, And also, don't get me wrong, with all this, I think the last thing I want to undermine is a homemaker.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, I think we always look at women in power, women in leadership roles, women as CEOs in company, working women, but we look at a homemaker as she's just a housewife. But I think it is the most difficult and the most challenging job.
Yeah.
And believe me, I felt it myself. Once I lost my election and I became a full-time mom and a homemaker, I realized how difficult it was. I was better off running off to work and coming back.
Yeah.
It is an extremely...
To be fully present.
To be fully present. Because there you're supporting not just your kids, you're supporting your husband as well. In so many ways. You're supporting your children in everything. Your home, you are like the manager of your entire home. You're doing so much.
Yeah.
So I don't think I never undermine the strength of that woman.
And so many women are doing that role. And
so many.
And the children are growing up on that support system. So in a way, they are
you're
giving us
raising
that
the future, right? My mom gave up her entire career after she got married out of choice.
Your mom epitomizes Mother India, Priya.
Yes.
I mean, who can forget Nargis Dutt for that matter? And, her face and just flashes in front of me. What is the kind of influence she had? I must ask you, you did mention that you were only 13 or 14. But she is an epitome of she is still the Mother India for all of us.
Yes. No, I think I had the most memorable years with her. And I think... So they used to call me her tail because I used to be just constantly, like, you hold the mother's pallu. It was literal for me. And so I think, for me, I think those years were something which will always be etched in my memory of my mother, because she was very funny. She really had a super sense of humor. She was fun. She gave us all the time. I don't think there was a moment where I felt that, oh my God, my mom's missing from my life. And she balanced everything. She went a lot into social work and stuff like that, but she gave 100% to us. I remember coming back from school even for lunch, and mom used to be there.
Despite being such a big movie star, being
I didn't even know at that time.
No,
I didn't
you
even
were
know.
insulated from her fame?
I never even knew that how famous my mom was.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
So that is again to her credit that she managed
she used to come to my school. She used to direct plays for us. And she used to come and pick me up, drop me. And I know that she was friends with the teachers and my principal and all, but
there was no paparazzi clicking you like how they click Saif and Karina's.
No. I think so we grew up with so much of freedom, Like I had no clue how famous my mom was. Till there was a time when we had gone to Delhi and my mom said, chalo, we'll go for shopping to Palika Bazaar. And with her friend.
Underground market.
Market. We were going and, nobody recognized my mom. So we were going and my mom's friend was there who got lost in Palika Bazaar, and she started asking everybody, Arey, Nargis ko dekha hai, Nargis ko dekha hai. And that's how the word spread that Nargis is in Palika Bazaar.
Okay.
And then people started kind of gathering, and that was the first time I saw that why are so many people gathering and coming in.
How old were you at that time?
I must have been 11, I think.
You have a clear memory of
that.
Okay.
Very clear memory.
Interesting.
So we used to have a great time together. We traveled a lot. She used to take all of us traveling, and
just
a lot of fun. Yeah.
It's great to have that good memory to sustain you, right? Because that is what you live by, end of it. But it, again, coming back to the Women's Day part of this, men and women in your life, I mean, of course, it goes without saying, they're very strong personalities. The amount of work your father has done in his immediate community, he's spoken about in Bombay, of course. Every second person would have a nice thing to say about your dad. And I, of course, also am familiar with the sort of social work that he was engaged in. I think you got that gene from your
dad.
And your brother got the acting gene, is it?
From my mom. Yeah.
But out of the men and the women, your sister, your brother, your father and mother, both very well-known names in cinema history. What were their influences like, and whose influence was the strongest?
Strongest on me? I think my father's. I think I spent the maximum time with my father. And again, I think I was a kind of a kid who was just soaking up everything for my parents, you know. So whatever time I spent with my mom, I soaked in a lot of her energy. I spent a lot of time with my father, you know, again, traveled a lot with him. And for me, my experience with him on the Padyatra, the Mumbai to Amritsar 78-day Padyatra, which we did, was a game changer for me, you know. And I think I got to know my father very differently at that time. You know, I saw him as that people's person. I saw the love people had for him. And I realized, you know what, he's just not all mine. He belongs to everyone. You know, like I was a very possessive daughter. Okay, for me, my father was like everything. I would do anything for him. But when I saw him, you know, when he was in the Padyatra, I saw the way he was, the way people interacted with him. I realized he's just more than dad.
More than just your father. He's a father figure to many.
You know, and I learned, I think the maximum was from him. Yeah.
So is that what inspires you to the work that you do today under Nargis Dutt Foundation?
Definitely. I think he's kind of left so much of a legacy in the sense of how he's been as a human being. You know, and I think the way, when I look at his life and how he came from this little village, he was the victim of partition, how he built his life, how he grew, how he made a name for himself. And for him, that was very important. His name, you know. And he always said one thing. He said, you know what, I've gone through partition, but I have never ever had any hate for any community. Because I did realize both communities suffered in this partition, you know, and I will never...
He never took sides.
He never, he was, you know, he never did that. Though members of his families died during the partition as well.
Yet he rose above that.
He rose above that because he said, what has happened to me has happened to them also.
Wow, that's...
You know, so it's very difficult for a person to look at it that way.
That level of empathy.
You know, and that's why he had such a strong patriotic belief in his country. And whenever he saw these kind of things which you're talking about, you know, division, Hindu, Muslim, that affected him a lot. You know, that pained him a lot. And he always used to tell me, and I think these are the things which stayed with me for, you know, forever, was that, you know, Priya, the greatest wealth you will have in your life is the love of the people. That equates to no money, no nothing. You know, that's the greatest wealth you can earn. You know, and money will come, it will go, people will talk rubbish about you. You know, it's like when you leave the room, will people still talk nicely about you?
That's important.
That's important.
So what about the influence of your brother? Again, being such a big name and been in the news for various different reasons. How did it impact you to see the roller coaster in his life?
So, you know, I've admired my brother a lot since I'm a child. Okay. And I have seen his life, you know, go like a yo-yo.
Yeah.
Literally like a yo-yo. And again, he has this quality of my father where he doesn't harness any hate in his heart for anybody. Okay, he will never have that thing in his heart to say that, this happened because of that person or this happened because of that person. That blame game is never there. There's no bitterness in his heart for anybody. No matter what he's gone through, he'll always smile. Wo ho gaya. It's like that is over now, and this is my life now. And I look at him and I say that, where does he get that strength from?
After being through
going through so many ups and downs in life, but he still gets up and he takes charge and he moves ahead as if nothing happened. And I think that is really admirable to see in a human being. And so I think I've always looked up to him in that way, and I think he has a lot of my father in him as well.
Right. So that should again be a factor for you, that somewhere part of your father still alive, guiding you in the shape of your brother. So thank you, Priya, for joining us. It was such an interesting conversation, and thanks for sharing so many of your experiences.
Thank you so much. Thanks.